Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Light Conversations with Bob. I hope everyone is staying healthy and following the directives of your local officials. Man, it's been a month without race cars on the actual track, and I'm thankful that you are taking your time to watch some of these interviews on our social channels. This week, it's Austin Dillon. I've always enjoyed talking to Austin, who can be a little bit polarizing, but I've always enjoyed the fact that he marches to the beat of his own drum. And he's willing to do that no matter what people think. That can be taken as being maybe a little bit arrogant, but I find it refreshing considering how much he is judged in being Richard Childress's grandson, as well as the driver of the iconic number 3 car. Now, our interview with Austin Dillon. We've got Austin Dillon, driver of the Richard Childress number 3 Chevrolet here. And Austin, first off, thanks for taking your time to be with us.
Hey, no problem, man. It's good to be talking to a fellow racer, and hopefully we're back at a racetrack before too long.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one reason I want to have Austin on this show is because, like many of you, he's a big sports fan, and he's beyond missing racing. I'm sure, Austin, that you're missing a lot of sports. I mean, heck, you played in the Little League World Series. You have friends who are members of the Carolina Panthers. What are maybe you missing the most, just from a sports fan standpoint?
Well, the NBA playoffs will be going on probably right now. You got March Madness that we missed. I always love watching March Madness and trying to fill out a bracket. And then the Braves opening day for baseball got canceled. That was a bummer. But hopefully before too long, we're all back to normal. I've been playing a lot of video games. I was actually some of my buddies. We started a Madden league and drafted our own teams in Madden, and that's been occupying me a lot. My wife got on to me last night. I was up till 2 a.m. trying to make a trade to a computer, which is really funny.
So you got to tell me your strategy on Madden. Do you draft friends or do you draft the best players?
Well, McCaffrey was gone right off the bat to my old engineer Ryan Sparks. He drafted him. I didn't get to pick my franchise first either. I picked the Titans because Whitney was a Titans cheerleader. But Sparks chose the Panthers, and he had like an early draft pick, and he was able to get Christian. So I actually went with Khalil Mack. I went defense, and now I'm waiting to play Paul Swan. I don't think he wants any of me. My team's pretty stout. We're 3-1 right now in the league, or 4-1.
No, it's that's pretty good. Now I want to say, from looking at your social, did you watch WrestleMania the other night?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
I watched the Sunday night WrestleMania. That was fun. I'm a big WrestleMania fan. I always try and watch it when I get a chance. Usually, we're coming home from a race, and I buy it and watch the end of it.
so what was the best part of this one?
Um, well, I kind of got a new person I liked, and that was Otis, the big guy. He came home with the win and the girl. Um, so he made me a fan watching him and his style. But you know, the Orton match with Rated R Superstar, that was just, they beat the absolute crap out of each other. It seemed like for an hour. I think I could have taken a nap and came back. It was definitely fun to watch, though. I had a fun time enjoying myself, just tweeting about it and talking to people about WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, talking about having fun times, you were also on a recent episode of SEAL Team. I'm curious, what did you think of that? And you can be honest with me. How many takes did it take you to kind of to drive the car around and get it in the pitch just right and get out of the car just right?
Yeah, I wish they would have showed the original one, because I slid for about 10 pit stalls at Fontana. It was pretty cool, and only problem was I blew past where the cameras were set up, so it looked really cool, but I wasn't in the shot. It would have been pretty funny to see that, but it took me about 3 or 4. The craziest thing that happened while we were there, though, was when I was running around for the camera, 2 coyotes ran across the track, and I was in the like petty car, and I come over the radio. I'm like, "You guys aren't gonna believe this. There are coyotes running across the track right now." And I think they thought I was like seeing stuff or hallucinating, but there were legit coyote. He ran across the track, jumped up on the safer barrier, and walked where he found a hole and jumped the fence. It was crazy.
And have you been in contact with any of those guys anymore since then? Obviously, you probably saw them at the race at Fontana.
Yeah, AJ and Max both are who I've stayed in the most touch with, but AJ, he actually sent me a gift for my baby. He has a company called Paperclip that makes like baby bags. So he sent me a really nice gift there. And Max was at Vegas, and he was at Fontana. So he was a regular there for 2 races back to back. And both of them are big fans of racing now, and I'm a fan of them. So we plan to hang out, maybe do a hunting trip. They both like to hunt, so we might do something like that.
Are any of them into iRacing? Because maybe they could give you some advice. I mean, you did finish last week, so you did finish what 15th. You finished the race, so
Finally.
finally. So, but I'm curious if they've given you any advice on that.
No, but AJ asked for a sim rig, so I'm trying to pump sim seats right now, and hopefully they'll let me keep my rig right now because I've been doing so bad. If I sell some rigs for them, but yeah, we finished the race. My driver Blake Reynolds has been helping me out, trying to teach me as much as he can, and every time we go into the race, we're like, "Look, we're gonna take it easy, use our quick fix." I actually have speed. I qualified 8th at Texas, and just got a little. Bobby Labonte missed the corner, got the apron, and that got us involved in that. And once you get behind, man, it is hard to get your track position back unless you stay out. So my biggest thing I've learned is we got to take track position, try and get to the front, and it's a little cleaner racing up there. If you're in the back, my dad always says you run with the dogs, you get fleas. So I gotta figure out a way to get to the front.
And I want to say, watching your Twitch, was Whitney doing your brake adjustments for you
He
during the
was.
race on a Sunday?
Yeah, it was really nice of her. She sat right beside me and did she was working our Instagram and Twitch, and then when I would yell for brake adjustment, she would hit the F8 key and put front or rear brake in, and I had it. Crew chief and I had it backwards pretty much the whole time. She'd been putting front brake in instead of taking rear out for the short run. So I'm learning. There's little tricks to the trade, and Whitney's a good brake adjuster, though.
And you talked about expecting a baby. She's due in late June. And I want to go back to your gender reveal, because the photo of you looking like you had just won, you got the Daytona 500 trophy behind you there. I see it. And I think the excitement in that from the photos of the gender reveal were almost as close, if not even more excitable than when you won the Daytona 500. Can you kind of talk about what that moment was like? Because usually gender reveal photos are very kind of romantic and very kind of serene, and yours was like, I mean, it looked like you were screaming at the top of your lungs.
I was pretty good reaction on we did the Motor Trend show and they videoed it. If you watch that episode, it's pretty good. And yeah, so I kept it together the whole time. I didn't show my cards or anything, and was going to be happy either way because we had a name for boy or girl, and that was the only thing that Whitney was worried about at first. Was she really wanted a boy? And when we left the first time, the doctor kind of made us feel like it might be a girl, and it was kind of we didn't ask to know, but she just kind of gave us a hint, and I was like, and we left, and Whitney was bummed, and I was like, it's gonna be all right. I was like, what's wrong? I mean, it's healthy, everything's good. And she's like, well, I just really want to be a boy mom, and I was like, all right, cool. Well, so then I was I've always been team boy myself, but I was a quietly team boy. And when the blue smoke, I just didn't think I was gonna have a boy. I just felt like I was gonna be girl for sure. And then blue smoke blew out of those cannons, and I was just pumped. I was definitely excited. I hope one day if I have a daughter, she doesn't watch that, or I react even better the second time around.
And one of the things I found kind of interesting was, I want to say I saw your granddad, Richard Childress, in the background of the photo there, right? And he's pretty old school, and he was smiling, and he looked like he was having fun. But like, I mean, does he really like? Was he really into it? And I mean, because I could see Rich Childress being like, gender reveal. What in the world am
Yeah.
I going to? Just tell me what the gender is. What's a gender reveal?
He was cool. He knows Whitney likes to have a good time, and he was all in, man. He wore. We asked everybody to wear pink or blue or whatever you thought it was, and then we wrote on a board like a tally mark, boy or girl, and he wore a pink tie to it because he said he had a dream that it was going to be a girl, and he was teaching her how to ride a dirt bike in a dream or something. And so he wore a pink tie, and then after we saw it was a boy, he said, I thought I was hoping I was jinxing it, so it worked out. So he was into it.
Yeah,
Took it serious.
and you talked about names, and you have a name, Ace RC Dillon. Obviously, the RC for your grandfather. Your logo is an ace. Your dad often says, "What does he often say?" Or your granddad often says, "Ace in the hole." Is that right? Did you have to convince Whitney of that should be the name if the baby is a boy?
We kind of already we had that planned from the beginning on the name. She really liked it when I mentioned it to her, and um, she's been awesome about it. She loves the name. She's already got monogram stuff everywhere, and more presents for that baby than I'm gonna have for my birthday here in a couple weeks. But it's cool, you know. It's cool to see. We've had a couple fans send in different gifts that say Ace on it. We got a throw the other day, like a blanket that had Ace RC Dillon on it, and I FaceTime my grandfather, showed it to him. He was pumped. So it's cool to see the different things that go along with having a kid.
Do you ever worry about like the gender reveal is you're driving the number three car, that gender reveal doesn't exactly tell people, oh, the isn't like intimidator, right? And Ace, is that, do you ever worry about like people either criticizing or being saying like, well, that just shouldn't be you or anything? Like, do you ever worry about that at all?
I've never been that way. I've just been bold and what we do as a family, and confident in the things and the decisions we make. And I want to have a confident son that enjoys his name. I think it's a cool name, so I would be pumped if it was my name. That's why I look at it, and it's just it's fun. You know what I mean? You can't worry about what people think outside of your circle. Obviously, if you're making bad decisions, you care about what people think. But I think I've done a pretty good job of keeping myself together, and so hope people enjoy it and have fun with it. And that's what we're doing.
All right. Now, on a serious note, baby's due in late June. Potential that you could be racing a lot in July and
Yeah.
August. Are you? I mean, is there a big concern on your part of potentially being gone 5, 6 days a week racing with an infant at home?
Yeah, it's definitely concerning. We just luckily I've got a really good support system with our family. My mom is so pumped, and Whitney's mom. Whitney mom probably going to come down when it gets closer. So we'll have a good support system of grandmothers and grandpas, and it's part of our life. It's what we do, and it's not obviously the ideal time to have all this happen while we're having a baby, but it's the hand that we're dealt, and hopefully pull out an ace in the end.
And how much challenge will it be when you get back to racing? For especially if you're racing, 3 times a week, potentially at some points in during the summer.
Well, I think for me, it's going to be kind of like dirt racing back in the day, picking up lots of races in a short amount of time, which is nice. I like going to the racetrack. I like having a short memory bank between races, whether good or bad, because you want to get to the next one, and you're only as good as your last race. Um, I feel like it's going to be really tough on the crew guys, all the guys at the shop having to build these cars. So I'm sure there's going to be late nights, and I'll be hanging out at the shop with them, coming in and just doing anything I can do to help them on a short week, and then obviously putting in the work to study. It's going to be hard to keep your body together too, because you're gonna be traveling a lot. That's why I've been working out a ton right now, trying to be in the best shape as I can be as when we go back, because there ain't gonna be much time for getting workouts in and studying as much. So trying to do some of that studying and working. And iRacing's helping a lot of that. I think I'm busier than I ever have been now with iRacing.
Are drivers actually gonna be allowed to work on the cars, do you think now? Is that gonna become a necessity, if these races are bunched up together, or you're doing double headers and you need a little work, another person working on the car, a little bit overnight?
Hey, you never know if that's how it has to go. It has to go that way. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty, get in there, change some tires, and you know, my I'll probably be more of a wipe down and a pusher guy, like push it to tech if that comes, because I don't think Justin and the guys want me doing much wrench. I would probably over tighten things for sure. It would be my problem.
And finally, did I see right? Did you attend a virtual wedding?
I did not.
Oh,
That was an invitation to be a groomsman to one of my buddies' weddings. Jack Sock and Laura Little are some of our friends, and Laura was a Monster Girl with Mariel and Whitney, and then you got Jack Sock, who Laura met, and now they're getting married. And Jack's awesome. He hangs out with me and Paul. He's a professional tennis player, a
Sure.
really good one. Had a good start to his season. His season's down now, but yeah, we're going to be in their wedding in November, and we're really pumped about that. So they sent the invitations over, and I accepted them when I was in the chair. I was just pumped to be in the wedding.
That's what I saw. And so, and do you and Jack communicate at all as far as like what you're both going through as far as athletes? And if so, has he had any good advice for you as far as either staying in shape or other things?
Well, we're both playing little video games right now and doing our own kind of working out. He's obviously his season got postponed a little quicker than ours, and physically he's got to stay on it and stay in the game. But he was really rolling. I hate it for him because he was on a roll, winning a lot, and then the season comes to an abrupt halt. So it's just hard to stay focused, and I'm sure he'll just be ready to get back into it when it does fire back up.
And finally, just you're 20th in points, st- adjusting to a new, somewhat old crew chief of yours. How do you feel you'll be able to pick up after this break?
Well, we were up front after a good start with Daytona and Vegas, and we go to Fontana, blow a tire, running like 14th or 15th with one lap to go, and then you go to Phoenix and blow another tire. The second tire was kind of our own problem, so that was unfortunate. And Tyler had a great run going at Phoenix too. So I feel like we had some optimism as a group, as a company at RCR going before this all hit. We were really looking forward to Atlanta and Homestead. We had put our work in for those two tracks. I ran eighth last year at Homestead in the finale. Eighth, I think, was where we finished. So we were pumped to get to those tracks and see what we could do between myself and Tyler. We feel like we would have had a good run there. But we'll get our chance. It sounds like we'll get our chance to go back and get those places. So we're just ready to get going. The momentum wasn't bad. Obviously we didn't get the finishes or the points that we'd like to be in, but we're not in an awful position. In 20th, we can capitalize from where we're at.
All right. Well, Austin, hey, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time out.
Thanks, Bob. You guys have a good rest of the week.
All right, thank you. Well, that wraps up another edition of Light Conversations with Bob. If you missed our first two with William Byron and Matt DiBenedetto, you can check them out on our Facebook and our YouTube channels. I hope you are enjoying these conversations. I know I am, and we plan to continue to do them for as long as people are willing to come and join us. Now, we have no iRacing this Sunday on Fox and FS1 because it's Easter. The NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series will return April 19th at 1 p.m. on Fox and FS1 at Virtual Richmond. There also is Wednesday night iRacing at 8 p.m. on FS1 as we feature some series that are more grassroots. Thanks again. Stay healthy, stay home, wash your hands, and we'll talk to you soon.
For more great NASCAR on Fox content, subscribe to our channel. It's somewhere right around here.